As many in Iran celebrated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, others mourned it. But his second son, 56-year-old Mojtaba Khamenei, was planning to step into his father's shoes and into the heart of war with Israel and the US. Mojtaba Khamenei is Iran's declared new head of state, the spiritual leader for a brutal regime his father came to embody before he was slain by Israel and the US in joint strikes. Alongside his father, Mujtaba's mother and wife were also killed in US-Israeli airstrikes. As many in Iran celebrated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, others mourned it. But his second son, 56-year-old Mojtaba Khamenei, was planning to step into his father's shoes and into the heart of war with Israel and the US. Mojtaba Khamenei is Iran's declared new head of state, the spiritual leader for a brutal regime his father came to embody before he was slain by Israel and the US in joint strikes. Alongside his father, Mujtaba's mother and wife were also killed in US-Israeli airstrikes. Born in Mashhad in 1969, Mojtaba Khamenei served in the Iran-Iraq War and studied in the holy city of Qom. Mojtaba Khamenei has strong links with the security establishment, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as the Basij paramilitary force, relationships he's likely to foster if he wishes to rule in the same vein as his father. But the junior Khamenei could struggle for legitimacy, even among supporters of the regime. He's not a well-known cleric and has not held government office, and a father-to-son succession may not be palatable to the supporters of a revolution that overthrew a monarchy. Born in Mashhad in 1969, Mojtaba Khamenei served in the Iran-Iraq War and studied in the holy city of Qom. Mojtaba Khamenei has strong links with the security establishment, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as the Basij paramilitary force, relationships he's likely to foster if he wishes to rule in the same vein as his father. But the junior Khamenei could struggle for legitimacy, even among supporters of the regime. He's not a well-known cleric and has not...
Whatever is left of the Islamic Republic leadership clearly is saying a big no to Donald J. Trump. They are instead opting for continuity inside their regime. And in fact, I think they're doing more than that. They're essentially saying to Trump that, they're not going to be persuaded by his pressure campaign that we're seeing unfold, which is happening obviously mostly militarily, but also through the political messaging that Donald Trump has sent to Tehran over the course of the last 8-9 days now. So the appointment of Mojtaba Khamenei is the reflection of the fact that the hardliners in that system now have the upper hand. Not only are they saying they're going to continue this fight, at least in the short term militarily, but they're also saying politically they have a game plan. And that, as far as I can tell, in Washington should be a wake-up call, because whatever political agenda President Trump had in terms of changing Iran, right now that agenda is not happening. So much depends on the overall Israeli strategy. If they decide to double down, if they really decide to maintain this sort of confrontation and stay in this war in days, weeks, months to come, that's a political decision. It comes down to what Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to do. And it also comes down to the capacity of the Israelis to stay in this war, particularly if the United States decides to look for a way out. But if they decide to stay in this war, and if regime change is what they want ultimately to achieve, what we do know from the Israelis is a significant capacity to do what they say they will do when it comes to assassinating the adversaries that they identify. They did that with the leader of Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hassan Nasrallah. They've done it with other people that Israel has considered threats to their national security. So we also know the Israelis have, in recent years, badly infiltrated the Islamist regime in Tehran. So if the Israelis do decide to assassinate him, and there will be a political cost associated with that, but that's something they have to decide. If they decide to assassinate him, in terms of capacity to do so, should not be dismissed. Mojtaba Khamenei has very good reason to be worried about his survival, and I'm sure he will go out of his way, and his supporters will make sure he is secure to the extent that they can secure his physical well-being. But again, we shouldn't underestimate Israel's capacity, since they've infiltrated the Iranian regime so much, their capacity to find him and to assassinate him if that's what they choose to do politically. As of today, it does not look like it's going to happen. And as of today, President Trump's biggest challenge now is, can he call this a victory? Can you walk away and say, I achieved what I wanted to achieve? He can say the killing of Ali Khamenei was what he wanted to do. That represents regime change. Many will be doubtful that it has actually achieved anything significant. In fact, you could say leaving Mujtaba Khamenei in charge of Islamic Republic, someone who might not have become supreme leader. And now, because the conditions of war made it easier for this 56-year-old to become the supreme leader, and the United States leaves him in power and walks away, there's a relatively young man in charge of a pretty large country in the Middle East with a lot of desire to seek revenge for years to come. And that, I don't know how you can possibly portray that as anything that looks like victory for the United States, but President Trump might just do that.
Iran has a new supreme leader. It's Mujtaba Khamenei, a son of the slain supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, whose death on February 28th in an Israeli airstrike kicked off the Israeli-American war that has spread across the wider Middle East. Now, Mujtaba Khamenei is believed to be 56 years old and thought to be more hardline than his father, and he comes into power as Iran's theocracy faces perhaps its greatest challenge yet, this ongoing war that has seen sites across Iran destroyed, as well as Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, its Air Force and Army targeted and just pounding airstrikes. Now, so far, we haven't heard from Mujtaba Khamenei himself. It's expected that at some point he'll provide a pre-recorded statement to people of Iran trying to describe what his plans are. But what we've seen from the Guard, which has long had ties to Khamenei, is just these pounding attacks that have spread across to hit oil infrastructure as well as water desalination plants. And that is the lifeblood of the Gulf Arab states, and we're starting to hear more criticism from them. Saudi Arabia this morning issued a very stinging statement warning that Iran would be the, quote, biggest loser if it continued these attacks. So Khamenei comes into power, likely already targeted by Israel and possibly facing the greatest challenge that his country's theocracy has ever seen. It remains unclear just what he'll do, and it remains unclear just what will come next.
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF 6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角 ，KS 让我从容自信、光彩动人。我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购，透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。